All right, welcome back, everybody. You know, cybersecurity, it's a topic that we see again and again and again in the news. Major companies are seeing data breaches, putting your information at risk.
So what does that all mean for you, and what can you really do to keep your information safe? Troy Lepage is the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of HAI Group, here to talk all about it. Thank you for being here. Congratulations on recently being named 40 under 40.
Great, thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. What a great accolade that is. Terrific.
It was incredibly humbling. It was an awesome experience.
I know, really. That's terrific. Good for you. Congratulations. Grew up in Wolcott.
I did.
Home-based. We love that. What are you seeing now out there in terms of cybersecurity? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I think you said it in your intro, is we're just seeing it often. It's everywhere. It's in our personal lives. It's in our professional lives. You really can't go a day, a week, a month without getting emails, phone calls with malicious intent that are really trying to get your data, to try to steal money from you. And, you know, with the prevalence of AI, I think we have to mention that as well. We're seeing, for the longest time, the emails you'd get would have typos or poor grammar, and a lot of that can be done much better, yeah, with the AI tools. So we're certainly seeing it often.
So HAI usually deals with insurance, but does that factor in? Like, I guess when I think I'm dealing with a really reputable company, like my insurance company or something, that my data is safe, but I know at the same time we hear leaks from the biggest companies in America. So what do we as the consumer need to do?
Yeah, I think for us, it's a big part of our mission, is we're member-owned, so protecting the public housing authorities that we insure is a big part of that mission. But for those at home, I think the biggest things are to set strong passwords. We recommend using passphrases, so a combination of words that is still easy to remember, but also helps protect your account. Like,
for example, like I heard something like, if you're, like, let's say the company's Nike, then maybe you use Nike and then a phrase after it, I love my cat and your birthday, or something.
Exactly like that, or even lyrics from one of your favorite songs, something that's easy for you to remember but harder to guess, you know, a singular word from the dictionary.
And Troy, how often would you change that password? Is it, you know, once a month, once a 6 months, or?
You know, if you set a good password, the rules around changing it aren't hard and fast. I would change it once in a while. There's a lot of tools you could use that would identify if your password's been breached, so certainly if that's the case. But if you're able to set a good, long password, I wouldn't recommend changing it all that often.
I mean, I know we've heard about password managers that have these things that are impossible to remember, but you just pick it and then it stores in your phone. I just get nervous that, like, I'm never gonna, as long as the phone remembers it.
Yeah,
do you recommend that?
Yeah, I think the password managers are great. They certainly are helpful. There's obviously a password to access that, and it's important that you make sure that you contain that and manage it yourself, but we certainly recommend that as well.
Now, when I get you constantly getting those letters in the mail, your data has been compromised from, again, major companies.
Like, do we have to do anything? I end up putting them in my pile.
I put it in the pile.
Yeah, I think everyone should really be monitoring your credit at all times, whether you've received one of those letters or not. I think it's important for you to see what's going on and kind of under your accounts and what's happening.
And the Equifax and things like that, and TransUnion. Is it good to become members of those? Or?
Yeah, I think it is. Anyway, there's a lot of free services. You know, Credit Karma is one. There's a bunch of different ones that you can access that'll protect or help you identify what's going on in your accounts. And if you see malicious activity, they help you kind of lock that down immediately, which is one of the biggest things.
Is there one of, like, the biggest scams that you see going on that you just think people aren't aware of right now that we need to be aware of?
You know, I think the scams are cyclical, and it depends on what's going on. Right now, it's tax season, so you'll probably see a lot of texts and different messages that say you haven't filed your taxes, you have to act now.
I'm getting a call constantly that says you owe back taxes. I haven't owed a back tax in my life.
Their goal is to scare you. So when you get those types of things, I think the most important thing is just to slow down, to think about it, to evaluate, you know, would the IRS really interact with me this way, or really any company. I think a lot of the scammers are trying to go and create that sense of fear, that sense of urgency that makes you act quickly, and that's how a lot of the hacks happen, is that people are just not thinking and taking their time.
So if you feel like they're trying to scare you, that's a red flag in and of itself, because a real company isn't going to make you act on something that second.
Absolutely, I think that's a great point.
So if they start asking for gift cards or come down to the courthouse or anything like that, that's a
if your CEO wants iTunes gift cards, I wouldn't send those right away.
Exactly, you know, it's a very good point, right? I'm about to give my password out on air, so if you want it, it's just kidding. I just figured I'd throw that out there for good measure. And I'm going to give Kara's phone number out. It's 860-2. Just kidding on that, too, as well. Troy, we can't thank you enough for being with us.
Great. Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure. And congratulations again.
Yeah.
If you'd like to find out more about HAI Group, perhaps look at their job openings. Great company to work for. They've been voted a top workplace in the nation, after all. Just go to haigroup.com.
All right, coming up next on Great Day Connecticut. Again, he's known as the nicest judge in America.